You might keep telling yourself that you don't know what you want, that you're confused, that you need more time to figure everything out. But what if you're actually not confused? What if somewhere underneath all of the fear and all of the overthinking, you already knew? You know what you don't want anymore, and you probably have some idea of what you would like your life to look like. And maybe the scary part isn't just figuring it out. Maybe the scary part is that once you admit what you really want, you might have to do something about it. There's been moments recently in my own life where I've been telling myself that I don't know what I want, or that I didn't know what my next step was. It wasn't until I got really quiet with myself that I actually started to realize what I truly wanted for myself. I knew what wasn't working. I knew what I wanted more of. I knew what I was tired of tolerating. I just didn't know how everything was going to work out yet. And those are two completely different things. Sometimes being stuck doesn't look dramatic. You might still go to work, you're still taking care of everybody, and you're still doing what you're supposed to be doing. You're still answering messages, paying the bills, and getting through the day. From the outside, your life might look completely fine, but inside there's this little feeling that keeps coming back. I don't want to keep living like this. Or maybe for you, it's there has to be more than this. And then immediately your brain starts trying to solve the entire situation. How would I change it? How would I afford it? What would people think? What if I made the wrong decision? What if I try and it doesn't work? Or what if I regret it? And suddenly, what was stated as a very simple truth, I want something different, turns into complete overwhelm. You may know that you want a different career. Maybe you're ready to leave a specific relationship, or you're ready to move into your dream house. Maybe you want to start something of your own, or maybe you just want peace. Maybe you don't know exactly what the full life you would love looks like, but you know that the current version is not working out for you anymore. I think there's actually something strangely comfortable about saying, I don't know what I want. Because if you don't know, you don't have to make a decision. You don't have to disappoint anybody. You don't have to risk anything. You don't have to explain yourself. And you don't have to find out whether you're capable of creating that thing that you really want. But admitting, actually, I do want this, that can feel pretty vulnerable because now there's something at stake. I had to realize this in my own life too. There were things that I kept overthinking because I felt like I needed some sort of guarantee to move forward or make my next step. I wanted to know how everything would work. I wanted to know what the outcome would be. And sometimes I was treating the fact of I didn't know how was proof that I didn't know what. But I did know exactly what I wanted. I just didn't have the roadmap yet. And this is where survival mode can really keep us stuck. When you've spent a long time trying to keep everything together, that's when your brain can fall back to what has been feeling familiar. Not necessarily what makes you happy, not necessarily what helps you grow, just what feels predictable. Because predictable feels safe. You might know something isn't right for you anymore, but you're just terrified to leave it. You might know that there's something you would like to pursue, but you talk yourself out of it every morning. You might keep choosing the life that you know because the life that you want has uncertainty attached to it. And I don't think that means there's anything wrong with you. It means you might have to stop and ask yourself, how do I become fearless? And start asking, what can I do even while I'm afraid? Because sometimes we wait for confidence before taking action, but a lot of confidence comes after the fact we've shown ourselves that we can move. This is probably the biggest thing I would tell you if you were actually sitting across from me asking me what to do. You don't need to know how the next 5 years of your life are going to look like. You probably don't even really need to know how the next year is going to work out. You need to figure out what is the next honest step. That's it. Not how do I completely reinvent my life? Not how do I guarantee that everything works? Just what is one thing I know enough to do next? Maybe your next step is doing some research or applying to something. It could be having a conversation that you've been avoiding or putting money away into your savings account. Maybe it's starting the page, making the video, taking a walk, writing down what you actually want, or setting one boundary. Saying no to something that you've been saying yes to automatically. A small step does not mean that your dream is still small. It just means you're giving yourself somewhere to begin. Here are 3 questions I want you to ask yourself. If you've been feeling stuck lately, I want you to actually sit with these. You can pause the video. You can write these in your notes app. You can take out a journal, whatever works for you. Question 1, what do I already know I don't want anymore? Don't overthink it. What are you tired of? What feels heavy? What have you outgrown? What are you continuing mostly because it feels familiar? Sometimes figuring out what you don't want gives you a lot of information on what you really do want. Question 2, what do I want that I've been afraid to admit? This one can be a bit comfortable because maybe your answer feels a bit unrealistic. Maybe someone else wouldn't understand it. Maybe it doesn't fit the life you thought you were supposed to have. Maybe you want more freedom, money, more peace, a different relationship, a different career, a completely different lifestyle. You don't have to justify the answer yet. Just let yourself tell the truth. Question 3, what is one step I could take without knowing the entire outcome? This is where you bring yourself back out of the future. Because overwhelm loves the question, how am I going to do all of this? But you don't have to do all of it today. What can you do next? One phone call, one search, one application, 1 hour working on the thing, one decision, one boundary, one uncomfortable conversation, one little piece of evidence that says, I am no longer ignoring what I know. I also want to say this because sometimes it may seem like personal growth content makes it seem like someone has all of the answers for your life. I don't. No one on the internet really does. I can't tell you exactly what decision to make. And I can't guarantee what will happen when you make that decision. And I don't think anyone should pretend that they can. But I can remind you to listen to yourself again. I can give you questions that help you get underneath the fear. I can remind you that uncertainty doesn't mean you're making the wrong decision. And I can remind you that you're allowed to want something more than the life you have right now. You don't have to change your entire life today. You don't have to know how everything's going to happen. But at some point, you do have to stop abandoning what you already know. And maybe today is just the day you take one step forward. I'm here if you want some guidance figuring things out. That's why I created this channel. I don't want this to be a place that tells you what your life is supposed to look like. I want you to hear yourself again and listen to the next steps that are right for you. So depending on where you are, you can start wherever feels natural. If you're not sure if you've been living in survival mode, I have a free survival mode self-check. Start there. It's free. It will help you show some of the patterns that have been showing up in your life. And if you already know something needs to change, but you feel overwhelmed trying to figure out where to begin, the first step is the smallest place to start. It's about getting out of a giant life plan mindset and choosing one next meaningful move. If what you're realizing is that you've spent a really long time putting yourself last, choose yourself is about rebuilding that relationship with yourself, your boundaries, your voice, what you want, and learning to trust yourself again. And if you feel like you're ready to really look at the bigger picture, what survival mode has been costing you, what you actually want your life to become, and how much you can start creating your way out of it, then the survival mode exit plan goes much deeper. You don't need all of them, and you don't need to rush. Choose the thing that meets you where you are. And even if you don't choose any of them today, take those 3 questions with you, because your next step might be a lot closer than you think. If this felt like something you needed, you could subscribe and stay here with me. We're figuring out how to leave survival mode, trust ourselves again, and create a life that actually feels like our own. I'll see you in the next one.